For the 3D breathing practice, you will need a strap or a scarf or something equivalent. Now you can do this in standing, you can do this sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor. If you are unable to sit on the floor without your back rounding, then you need to sit up on something, whether it's a folded blanket, on a yoga block, a stack of pillows, or a bolster. You want to be in a position where your knees are lower than your hip points. So if your knees are up here, you're likely straining through your low back. And so we want to take that strain out. We want our nervous system to be able to settle. We don't want to fight against it. So find an appropriate seat for you, for your body right now, and that may be different in the future, and have your strap handy. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take the strap around our back, around our rib cage, and then hold on to either side of your strap and create a little bit of pressure against the back of your body and your ribs. So I'm just going to turn so you can see what it looks like behind. So the strap is firmly pressed up against my ribs, and I can feel it against the side of my body as well. You could also, let me give a couple more options here because I always forget about this. If you're using a scarf, you can actually take the scarf, or if you're using a resistance band, you can do it the same way. You can tie the fabric snugly around your rib cage, so you don't want to prevent yourself from being able to breathe, but you want to feel it, and then you can just tuck the fabric in. So it's snug, but you can feel your rib cage moving. So that could be one way of setting up for this next practice. Or if you have a resistance band, you can do the same thing. You can wrap it around and tuck it in, or you can just hold on to the sides. So you choose your variation. And so this breath is going to be called 3D breathing. So what we want to imagine is the front of the ribs, the sides of the ribs, and the back of the ribs expanding in all directions, right, 360 degrees as we breathe in. So the inhale, the ribs are expanding outwards, and as you exhale, the ribs are contracting inward. And so sometimes what can be helpful is to visualize an umbrella inside the rib cage. And so as you breathe in, the umbrella opens, pressing the ribs out, and as you exhale, the umbrella closes and the ribs contract in. And so we've got our strap or our scarf here to give us some feedback, some biofeedback about what we're experiencing. So let's begin. Let your elbows just tuck in at the sides, shoulders as relaxed as they can be, and begin breathing in and out through your nose. And notice where you feel your breath. If you're someone who relies a lot on your secondary breathing muscles, you might notice that the chest and the shoulders are lifting quite a lot. You don't have to change anything, but see if you can let the attention, let your breath settle into the ribs. And if you can't quite feel it, you could try a few rounds through your mouth, and it goes like this. So on the inhale, I can really feel the ribs expanding, and then the exhale, the softening in. So maybe try that a couple times, exaggerate it so you can get a sense of what it ought to be like. And then let the breath come back in and out through the nose, and be with the more subtle movement if you can. And so as the breath starts to come into the ribs, you may still feel some in your chest, and that's okay. You may feel some movement in the belly as well. If you don't have a strap, you could use your hands. You can wrap your hands around the side of your ribs so your hands can give you feedback, or you can cross your arms. So let's just stay with this a little bit longer, noticing what you experience. It might be easier to feel into the back of the ribs or the front of the ribs, or maybe the sides. And with practice over time, we can start to build out or develop the felt sense of that 3D movement through the ribs. We want to find fluidity, so our diaphragm can nicely move up and down, and then all the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between the ribs, are able to respond. They can contract and relax. So this is going to help build out or develop more suppleness, more responsiveness of the tissues, or connective tissues, or muscles on all sides of our body. And this will help to settle out the nervous system so we can experience more safety. It'll help improve movement and reduce pain. You can keep the same breath, but maybe release and see if you can feel it without the strap or without the hands. And so this is a lovely practice that you can build into your day whenever you have a few minutes. So it could be a break when you're sitting at your desk, or maybe when you're sitting on the toilet, or transitioning from your car to your house. You don't have to spend, 5 or 10 minutes on each practice. You use what time you have, even if it's scattered throughout the day, and every little bit helps. It all builds on each other bit by bit, bit by bit. So maybe checking in with your energy now, or again, hopefully you did your little chart before you did this practice, and now checking in again. Has the mind energy changed? Has the body energy changed? Has body sensation changed? And if it hasn't, know that it's okay. This is just the first time doing it. As you do it more and more and more, you'll start to notice more subtle, more nuances, or maybe big changes will start to happen too. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that practice, and I'll see you in the next one.